I walked in on my wife, Emily, with her boss in our bedroom, the same bed where we had been close just the night before, whispering about starting a family. The sight hit me like a freight train. She was with him, completely caught up in the moment, while he said her name as if she belonged to him. Everything began falling apart a few months earlier, but looking back, the signs had been there from the very beginning. Emily and I had been married for 8 years, high school sweethearts who had become a successful couple in Seattle. I was the reliable one, working hard as a software engineer to keep our lakeside house standing, while she climbed the corporate ladder at a prestigious marketing firm. She had always been vibrant, beautiful, sharp-tongued, with that killer smile that could charm anyone. But lately, she had become unbearable, snapping at me over nothing. If I forgot to unload the dishwasher or suggested a quiet evening at home. "You're suffocating me, Mark," she would hiss, her eyes cold as ice. I blamed it on work stress, bought her flowers, planned surprises, anything to keep the peace. But deep inside, something was gnawing at me. Her phone buzzed at strange hours, late meetings that stretched into the night, coming home with a scent that wasn't mine. I would ask casually, "How was the office?" And she would brush it off with a smirk. "Boring as hell, babe. Just working." Lies, all of it. Tension was building like a storm cloud over our perfect little life. But I pushed it down, telling myself I was being paranoid. Until that afternoon. I wasn't supposed to come home early. A client meeting was canceled, so I decided to surprise her with lunch, Thai takeout, her favorite. I pulled into the driveway and noticed an unfamiliar black SUV parked crookedly, as if the driver had been in a hurry. My stomach twisted, but I brushed it off. Maybe a friend had stopped by. I unlocked the door quietly and heard muffled voices from upstairs. Laughter, then a gasp. My heart pounded as I crept up the stairs, each step creaking like a warning. The bedroom door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open just a crack, and there they were, Emily and Derek. She was with him, fully absorbed. "Oh God." "Yes, harder," she cried. He laughed low. "Better than your husband, huh?" She moaned in agreement. "Way better. Mark doesn't understand anything." Those words cut deeper than the scene itself. I stood frozen, blood roaring in my ears, my phone already recording everything before I even realized it. Doesn't understand? After everything I had given her, the house, the vacations, swallowing all her excuses? Rage boiled up, but I didn't burst in. Not yet. I backed away silently, left the house, got in the car, and drove around for hours, planning. That was the moment my world shattered, and the revenge began brewing. The shock hit first, like a punch to the soul. I pulled over in an empty parking lot, hands shaking on the wheel, replaying it all. How long? How many times? The lies piled up in my mind. Those girls' nights, when she came home disheveled, the sudden interest in lingerie she never wore for me, the way she flinched if I touched her unexpectedly. I felt sick, betrayed to my core. But beneath the pain, anger simmered, pure and unfiltered. Emily, the woman I had sworn to love forever, treated me like a fool. I thought about our wedding vows, her tears of joy that day. All fake, or just convenient until something better came along. By sunset, sadness crept in, tears blurring the road as I drove home. But I wiped them away. No more weakness. She wanted to play unfairly? Fine. I would make her regret it. That night, I kept my composure. I walked in as if nothing had happened, kissed her cheek while she cooked dinner, acting like everything was normal. "How was your day, honey?" she asked, batting her lashes. I forced a smile. "Same old. Yours?" She shrugged. "Busy. Derek had me stay late on that campaign." "Yes, staying late." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. We ate in silence, her phone lighting up with messages she ignored. Bedtime came, and she tried to get close, probably to throw me off. I turned away. "I'm tired, babe." She pouted. "Whatever, Mark. You're always tired lately." I lay there staring at the ceiling, her words echoing. Doesn't understand anything. Not anymore. Tomorrow would be the confrontation. But first, I would gather more evidence, check her phone if needed. This wasn't going to end in tears. It was going to end with her world in ruins. The next morning I woke before dawn. Emily was still softly snoring beside me, as if nothing had happened. I slipped out of bed, took her phone, thank God she never changed the passcode from our wedding anniversary, and started digging. Messages from Derek appeared immediately. "Last night was incredible. Can't wait to see you again. Her reply, Mark is so boring. Only you know how to really make me happy. My heart pounded as I scrolled further. Months of this. Photos, her in lingerie I had never seen, selfies from hotels, even a video from what looked like an office bathroom. My stomach churned, but I saved everything to a hidden folder. Proof. Ironclad. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen island, and waited. When she finally came down in her silk robe, hair messy, she yawned and kissed my cheek. Good morning, darling. Sleep well? I looked her straight in the eyes, like a baby. You? She gave her fake sweet smile. Great. Derek kept me up late with emails. I almost laughed. Emails. Right. I sipped my coffee, outwardly calm, inwardly a storm. Funny thing, I said casually. I came home early yesterday. Wanted to surprise you. Her smile froze for half a second. Oh, I was at the office. No, I said quietly. You were in our bed. With Derek. The color drained from her face. She tried to play dumb. What? Mark, you're being ridiculous. I would never. Enough. I cut her off, sliding my phone across the island. The video is playing. She stared at the screen, mouth open, then snapped it shut. This isn't what it looks like. I leaned in. Really? Because it looks exactly like my wife with her boss in the bed I paid for. And telling him I don't understand anything. Tears welled up instantly. Mark, please, it was a mistake. Just once. I was stressed. He was there. It just happened. I laughed coldly. Just once. Try 6 months. I saw the messages. The photos. The hotel receipts you hid. Don't insult me. She broke down sobbing. I'm sorry. I love you. I don't want to lose you. I stood up, towering over her. You lost me the second you chose him. She reached for me. I pulled away. Mark, we can fix this. Therapy. I'll quit. Anything. I shook my head. No, you don't get to decide how this ends. She collapsed into a chair, mascara streaking down her cheeks. What are you going to do? I smiled, slowly, dangerously. I'm going to make sure you feel every ounce of pain you caused me. And more. She cried for a full hour, pleading as if her life depended on it. Mark, please, I was stupid. It meant nothing. You're the one I love. Every word dripped with the same fake sincerity she had fed me for months. I sat there, arms crossed, watching her performance like bad daytime TV. When she finally ran out of steam and looked up with those big, watery eyes, I spoke slowly and clearly. Do you know what the worst part is, Emily? Not the closeness with him. Not even the lies. It's that every single day you looked me in the eye and told me I was imagining things. You made me feel crazy while you were with another man in our home. She tried to interrupt, but I raised a hand. Quiet. Just listen. I showed her the folder, screenshots, videos, timestamps. 6 months, Em. At least twice a week. Sometimes 3. You even met him in the guest room when I was away on business. Remember that weekend you said your mom needed help with the garden? I checked the cameras. You left the door open for him. Her face crumpled. How did you? Doesn't matter. What matters is you thought you were untouchable. Thought I'd never find out. Or that I'd forgive you because I'm such a good guy. Well, that good guy died yesterday afternoon when I saw you with another man in our bed. She began hyperventilating, clutching her robe as if it could protect her. What do you want me to do? I'll do anything. I'll quit. I'll leave. I'll go to therapy. Just don't leave me. I leaned forward, voice dropping to a whisper. I'm not leaving you, Emily. Not yet. You're going to stay right here, in this house, sleeping in that same bed, while I decide exactly how much this betrayal is going to cost you. Her eyes widened. Cost me? Yes, I said, smiling for the first time since I caught them. Because this isn't just about us anymore. This is about every lie, every fake, I love you. Every time you came home and kissed me after being with him. You humiliated me. Now it's your turn. I stood up and grabbed my keys. I'm going to work. Don't call. Don't text. And don't even think about running to Derek. He's next. She scrambled after me to the door, grabbing my arm. Mark, wait. Please. I shook her off gently but firmly. You had your chance to be honest. You chose this. Then I walked out, leaving her sobbing on the floor. On the drive to the office, the rage turned into something colder and sharper. I wasn't going to explode. I was going to dismantle her life piece by piece, methodically, mercilessly. First step, contact a lawyer. Second, finances. Third, Derek's wife would learn the truth. And fourth, fourth would hit her hardest. The rest of the day, I spent at work like a shadow. By evening, the plan was ready. I met with Jake, my divorce attorney. I showed him everything. Messages, videos, proof. She was with her boss in our bed. I said, 6 months. Jake whistled. This is nuclear. I told him, I want her to feel this every day. No quick divorce. Let her bleed money on lawyers while she pretends to be the victim. Jake nodded. Done. Tomorrow I file, fault-based, adultery, emotional distress. We'll freeze the accounts. Then I went to Derek's wife, Lauren. I showed her a short clip. She turned pale and cried. How long? 6 months. Everywhere. She nodded. Do it. Destroy him. Phase 1 complete. Back home, I found Emily on the couch, in tears. She asked where I'd been. I replied, making sure everything is in order. She said she had ended things with Derek. I laughed. Too late. I showed her Lauren's message. She had filed for divorce. Emily was horrified. You told her? Yes. And tomorrow I'm going to HR. Derek is about to lose his job, his marriage, and half his fortune. She cried harder. Mark, please. I crouched down to her level. You wanted this. Every time you lied to my face. I stood. Sleep on the couch tonight. The bedroom is mine now. She reached for me desperately. Don't do this. I turned away. You already did. The next morning, I went straight to HR at their company. I laid out everything. The affair, misuse of company resources. The director, Carla, went stone-faced. This is outrageous. We'll launch an investigation. I left feeling lighter, as if I had set dry grass on fire. At home, Emily had left a note. Went to my sisters. Need space. Please don't hate me. I began transferring money to my own account and changed all the passwords. She called. They suspended me. Derek was escorted out in handcuffs. I replied coldly. You lost your job because you couldn't be faithful. Actions have consequences. She asked about divorce. I answered. The papers are already being filed. And hung up. I poured myself whiskey and sat on the deck. The sun was setting. For the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. But it wasn't over yet. One more card remained. The next few days were cold routine. I changed the locks. When she returned, I handed her a box of her things. You'll pick up the rest with the movers. She shouted, This is my home too. I replied, Not anymore. And closed the door. I found the hidden folder with photos and videos. I copied everything. Met with Jake. Divorce papers ready. She gets nothing. Then I drove to Emily's parents. I showed them the evidence. They were stunned. Her mother cried. She threw away the best thing she ever had. Emily broke down, calling, texting, begging to talk. I deleted everything. No reply. A week later, the divorce papers were served to her at 7 a.m. She called in hysterics. You can't do this. I answered. You already did worse. And hung up. Public records appeared. Everyone found out. Gossip spread. I filed a lawsuit against Derek for $500,000. His lawyer begged. Jake refused. Emily came to the house, pounding on the door. I watched through the camera. She screamed and begged. I replied, You took everything from me first. Now feel what it's like. I turned off the camera. 2 weeks later, the hearing for the temporary order. Emily tried to fight. The judge granted it. The house and assets, mine. Nothing for her. Then Emily's sister Sarah called. She's falling apart. Talking about hurting herself. I replied, Tell her to get real help. Derek settled for $200,000. His life was ruined. 3 months later, the final hearing. Emily looked like a shadow of herself. The judge awarded me everything. She left silently. I sat alone in the house, now mine, and opened the expensive scotch we had bought on our honeymoon. I poured 2 glasses. One for me, one for the man I used to be. I toasted the empty glass silently and drank. The burn felt good, clean. The next morning, I began the real rebuilding. I started renovations. New paint, new furniture, every trace of her erased. I donated her clothes to charity and burned the photos in the backyard fire pit. Watched them curl and turn to ash. Real friends started coming around again. They didn't ask questions. They just showed up with beer and bad jokes until I laughed for the first time in months. Emily, she faded from my life completely. Last I heard through Sarah, she had moved to Portland, taken a low-level office job at some startup. No fancy title. No corner office. No Derek. Just a small apartment, and the kind of quiet that comes when you lose everything you thought you deserved. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel pity. I just felt finished. The last piece fell into place when the check for my legal fees cleared her account. She had to borrow from her parents to pay it. Sarah told me Emily cried when she signed the transfer. I didn't smile. I just nodded and said, "Good." Because sometimes justice doesn't look like fireworks. Sometimes it looks like the slow, relentless grind of consequences finally catching up. And when it does, you don't celebrate. You just breathe easier, knowing the scales are balanced at last. Months passed, and the dust finally settled. The house was mine, fully paid off after I refinanced in my name alone. The renovations were complete. New hardwood floors, fresh white walls. Every room stripped of the memories we had built together. I even replaced the bed. The old one went to the dump, frame and all. No trace of her remained except the faint scar on my soul that time was slowly healing. I started dating again, not rushing, just testing the waters. I met a woman named Claire at a charity run downtown. Smart, funny, kind in a way that didn't feel forced. She laughed at my dry jokes, asked real questions, and never once made me feel like I had to prove anything. On our third date, I told her the whole story. No sugarcoating. She listened quietly, then reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "You didn't deserve that," she said simply. "But you came out the other side stronger. That's what matters." For the first time in a long time, I believed it. Emily disappeared from my radar completely. Sarah stopped updating me after a while, said Emily had asked her to. Last I heard, she was still in Portland, working some dead-end office job, living alone. No big comeback story. No dramatic redemption. Just the quiet consequences of the choices she made. I didn't check up on her. I didn't need to. The scales were balanced, and that was enough. One evening, about a year after the final decree, I sat on the back deck with a beer, watching the sun drop behind the Cascades. The lake was still, the air cool with the promise of fall. My phone buzzed, an email from an unknown address. Subject: "I'm sorry." I almost deleted it without opening. But curiosity won. It was short. "Mark, I know you'll never forgive me, and I don't expect you to. I ruined the best thing I ever had because I was selfish and weak. Every day I wake up knowing I threw away a man who loved me more than I deserved. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed to say it one last time. I'm truly, deeply sorry. I hope you're happy. You deserve to be. Emily." I read it twice. Felt the old ache flare for a second, then fade. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Some apologies come too late, and some wounds heal without them. I deleted the email, finished my beer, and looked out at the water. The rage was gone. The hurt was a dull echo. What remained was clarity. I had survived the worst betrayal imaginable and come out the other side with my head high, my finances intact, and my dignity restored. I had learned that trust is sacred, that love doesn't excuse lies, and that sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away and never look back. If I could give one piece of advice to anyone facing a betrayal like mine, it would be this: don't explode. Don't beg. Don't forgive too soon. Gather your evidence, protect yourself, and let the consequences speak for themselves. Because justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, relentless, and final. And when it's done, you get to live again, better, stronger, and free. I raised my empty bottle to the sunset, to new beginnings, and to never being anyone's fool again.